Hi guys, Steve here. In this video I'm going to show you how to build and mod ships and save you a huge amount of time and money to build an extremely powerful ship that can get you bigger ships for free. And when you find this video helpful, please like and subscribe. Thank you. This is your starting ship, a Frontier, and everyone gets it at the start of a game. It's a small ship and really undergunned. Now I've completed a game tutorial in the mines, I've handed my first artifact in at the lodge, killed a few pirate ships, and that's given me 24,000 credits. This is right at the start of a game when you get to your first planet. I've killed a few pirate ships and that's took me to level 5. This is the best time to mod your ship, as the higher level you get the more ship parts and weapons get unlocked. The first planet you land on is Jemson in the Alpha Centauri system. This city has a shipyard where you can change your ship. Once you've landed, go to the guy standing next to the console. He's called the Ship Services Technician. Interact with him. Then on the dialogue options, go down I'd like to view and modify my ships. This is where you can change your ship around or build a new one. In the bottom right, if you go to upgrade ship, you can upgrade its weapons and components, but the rest of the ship's structure will remain unchanged. For more options where you can change everything, select Ship Builder, and this will let you change and swap everything out. At the moment, the ship has 2 lasers to take the shield down, missiles, and 1 cannon. I'll take the ship apart so you can see what components it's made of. You have a cockpit, docking collar, that needs to be on the outside of the ship, shields to protect the hull, fuel tank is for how far you can jump, its engines for manoeuvring and moving it. A jump drive has to be powerful enough to move your ship. Habitation, which is the middle of the ship that everything's attached to. A ramp so you can get in and out. Landing gear so you won't crash when you're landing. And the heart of a ship is the reactor. This is the most important piece because it determines what equipment you can have on your ship and what type of items you're able to power. And lastly, the cargo hold. How much cargo determines how much weight and items you can carry. You can change your parts to different types, but there are other parts a ship needs to have. Okay, let's undo that and put the ship back together. Now let's make it a formidable combat ship that you'll be able to steal other ships with very early in game at level 5 and only for about 24,000 credits. We're going to start by giving it a new reactor. So I dragged the old one out so we could compare it. You'll notice on the left that this is a Class A, which is for small ships, and the power generated is 14 power bars. They're the main 2 stats, because the power generated is how much power your ship systems can have, and the Class A reactor means that you can only fit equipment that's Class A as well. You can try putting Class B weapons onto it, but it'd be incompatible and won't work. The same with shields and engines. If you've got a Class A reactor on your ship, everything else needs to be Class A as well. But later if you put a Class B reactor in it, then you can use Class A and B equipment, as it scales down. Now mouse over the connection port where the reactor was, and press G to bring up components. Press Q or T to scroll through the different parts until you get to reactor. The 330T is what we had before, and that only gives us 14 power bars to use. Mouse over the others, and the other reactors give us 16. So that's 2 more bars of power. As you level up, it automatically unlocks new components to use. But now starting off, we've got to make do with what we've got. I'm going to pick the cheapest one because we're short of money, and it's the same power as the other anyway. To delete a component, mouse over it and press the delete key. When you delete it, you'll only get a fraction of its worth in credits, and if you confirm the ship changes, that old component will be deleted forever. So if you wanted it back, you got to buy a completely new part at a high price. So save what original parts you can to save money. Just mouse over the weapons to show you the damage, hull and shield damage, but because we've got 3 different weapon types on this ship, we have to split the power 3 ways to allocate it to the different weapons. So instead of having lasers to do damage to shields, cannons doing damage to the hull, and missiles doing damage to both, but it takes a long while for them to fire, I'm going to take all the old weapons off. I like to drag them off to the side to compare the different stats. Now mouse over the weapon port and click G to automatically bring up weapons, and these are the ones we've unlocked at level 5. A 3320 neutron beam does a lot of damage to both hull and shields, but if you notice on the left it says it's a Class B weapon, meaning it will not work with my Class A reactor. So I need to find a Class A electron beam. There we go. And we're going to put 4 of those on my ship, with all the power going to just these weapons. You can have 4 sets of each weapon on your ship. 4 lasers, 4 cannons, and normally 3 rocket launchers. But if you do that, all the ship's power will be split between those 3 weapon types. Put the last neutron beam on, and as you noticed on the left, these do 12 damage to both hull and shields. And I've got 4 of them firing all at once, with all the spare ship's power going to them, instead of just 2 lasers, 1 cannon and 1 missile launcher. Next we're going to boost our shields, because every little helps to keep us alive. The old shield generator gives us 310 shield health. Dragged it off to compare. Now go down a list of other shield generators. At the bottom is a B class, but again it won't work because I've got an A reactor. So what's the highest health A shield? The 20S at 355 health. It's not that much difference, so if you're running short of money you can do without this shield generator. I've got the money, so I've got a part. As you can see in the bottom right, we have 1 error. That means there's something wrong with the ship and it won't fly. In the bottom right, you see flight check, so click C. And this will bring up any errors or problems and tell you how to fix them. We need to assign our new weapons to a weapon group. So click the weapons tab in the top right, and these are the weapon groups. Left mouse button, right mouse button, then the G key to fire. And again, you can have up to 4 sets of weapons for each group. For group 1, which is left mouse button, I'm putting my 4 electron beams. It gives you a warning saying you don't have any weapons in the other groups, but because it's a yellow warning, it's not important. Only the red critical errors stop you flying. Next, we're going to put bigger fuel tanks on so we can jump further, maybe 2 planets at a time instead of just 1. So that gives us 50 fuel. Go over to the port and press G. Find fuel tanks, we've only got 2 available. And that takes us up to 70. Delete the old one. Press delete. We've done all the front. We're still within budget, only spent 19,000. I don't have enough money to do the engines, you can if you have it. The maximum mobility you can get to is 100, and the max top speed is 150. If you stick loads more engines on your ship, it won't make it any faster. In fact, because you're adding so much more mass, it'll make it a lot slower. So try and get the max numbers with as few engines as possible. As the more engines you add, the more system power you've got to allocate to those engines, and it'll make your ship weaker and slower. I'm going to try and swap the grav drive. The bigger and heavier your ship is, its mass, the more powerful grav drive you need to jump the ship. My ship's the same weight, so I don't really need it, and it costs just a bit more than I've got, so I'm going to leave it off. I've got the main stuff anyway. With the main ship upgrades done, let's change the ship's colour. Double click anywhere on the ship to select all its parts. The whole ship will go red, then press J for colours, and you've got 3 colour tabs in the top right. Drag the sliders until you get the colour you want. For the main ship colour 1, let's go for white. Drag the sliders until you get the colour you want. For a second colour, let's have Nublet's orange. Drag the brightness up. And then drag the colour bar to orange. Oh, it looks close enough. And on the third colour, she'll have black. Not bad. Looks pretty good. Or shall I have white? Let's go for white. Then click accept to finish. Then when you're done, press tab or escape to exit. Accept all changes, and now you've created a fighting beast. And with it you can capture or destroy just about any ship you come across for a good portion of the game until you decide to upgrade. Doesn't it look beautiful with its new paint job? Right, let's take it up and I'll show you what it can do. I love the customization in this game, making anything you want. And I always love watching my spaceship take off. Right, I found an unsuspecting target. Unfortunately, it's only a Class A, but it is more powerful than mine. If you haven't watched my video on how to steal a ship and capture it for your own, I'll link my video on how to do that for you at the end. Look how fast its shields go down, and remember when you're in targeting systems like this, everything's in slow motion. I'll get it in the centre and lock on. I've targeted his engines. They're destroyed in a few seconds. The ship's immobile. I can now board it and steal it for my own. Again, check out my video on how to steal ships, because it's going to save you time and a fortune in credits. Speaking of which, if you've picked the wanted trait at the start, where you're constantly hunted down by bounty hunters, instead of doing all those upgrades to the frontier, a better option is to steal one of the bounty hunter ships that first come after you. This is a frontier and its starting reactor is 14. At my level, I can upgrade it to 16, plus it's only a 2-crew ship. The very first group of bounty hunter ships that come after you are these ones, and they automatically come with an 18 reactor and they're able to support 4 crew. Plus everything else is better than the frontier apart from a cargo. The best advice I could give you is to steal the best A-class ship you can with a frontier without spending any money on it until you're level 5. Then when you're level 5 and you can get those good weapons, do all the upgrades I showed you on the frontier but with this stolen ship. If you didn't pick the wanted bounty hunter trait, just steal one of the bigger Crimson Pirate ships. Right, I'm going to quickly make the same changes as I did the Frontier, but with this one, and highlight all the other build options you can do that I missed out on the Frontier. I've deleted all the old weapons, because we're going to put neutron ones on when I've built a ship. Right, first of all, I'm going to remove all the excess mass I don't want, because it just makes a ship heavy, and it affects its performance. I'm just going to strip it down and leave all the components I'm going to use. Its mass started off at 382, now it's gone down to 368. I'm going to take the ramp from the back, move it to the front, press Z to flip it. Important, remember Z to flip parts. Then I'm going to take the front section underneath the cockpit, press the delete key to delete parts, connected the ramp up at the front, because the front of a ship always points towards outposts, so it saves time than walking around the back. I like the look of those 2 landing gears, so I'm going to move those forward. We have a grav drive there. That jump thrust is 16. Storage bay, I don't really need, so I'm going to delete it to save mass. I like the rounded top as it matches a cockpit. That habitat is control stations. On those you have crew stations and you can have galley and storage. Let's connect the fuel tanks onto the front of a ship. They hold a whopping 210 each. Let's connect the rest of the ship up. The reactor, the engines, the back landing gear. Let's try and get that underneath. And the shields. There we go. The ship's a lot smaller than it was before. And it's dropped down to 358 mass. These square or rectangle ports allow you to connect ship structures to them. These smaller round ones let you equip weapons. I've only got 2 weapon ports at the moment, so I need to connect another structure with weapon ports. Mouse over it and click G, and then Q or T to go to structures. The top one's a weapon port, but I need a bigger one. Scroll down. Find a look of something you like. There we go, let's have wings. That's got a few weapon ports. Put one on the other side as well. Mouse over weapon port, click G, and it automatically gives you a weapon. B's too big, so select A. Add one there. Second one. And same the other side. They're going to be your main weapons again. Next, we're going to remove the old weapon ports at the side. Mouse over and click delete. Saves as one mass. And then we're going to move the wings up there. On the right hand side, you can press R to lift the item up in the air or F to lower it down. If the connection port is one level above or below, the part usually snaps to it okay. We have one error in the bottom right. Let's see what that says. Okay, you can't reach your cockpit from a landing bay. You can get different types of landing bays. If I show you a front, I've got to walk in, then walk to another compartment at the back, but a grav drive's there. So I pull that out, move a habitation forward, and the grav drive behind it. There we go. Removed that problem. Now I can walk in from the ramp into the habitation and up. Next we need cargo. You can put the biggest cargo containers at the side. It's a bit big and unsightly. That's 245 cargo then. It's much smaller in outward size anyway. Put one on the other side as well. Time to change its colour. Remember to double click the ship so you can change all the panels at once. Then press J to bring up the colour tabs. There we go, that looks good. Adding so much more cargo did add a lot of mass. So the mobility has gone down to 57, but I still keep the top speed of 150. And the jump drive's gone from 19 light years to 18, but I could change that out later if I wanted. Let's have a look at my new baby. Ooh, that looks quite good, doesn't it? Now you've accepted the ship as it is in the ship builder, all the components you deleted are gone forever, and you've got to buy completely new ones if you wanted to replace them. So double check you have all the parts you want to keep on before you accept the ship design, as you only get a fraction of the cost of the parts if you sell them. Right, I've only got its original engines on at the moment. My top speed is 149. Remember that. I've got 4 points in engines, 4 points in shields. I put 1 point into the grav drive, so I'm going to put the rest of the bars into weapons. See, with a bigger reactor and the more points into weapons, it fires faster than the Frontier. Then when I use my engine boost, it takes me over 320 speed. Remember that also. My current engine thrust is 9,200, with manoeuvring thrust of 2,050. If I drag those off to compare, the best Type A engines I can buy at the moment are the White Dwarf 2010, and that has engine thrust of 11,340 and manoeuvring thrust of 2,130. So it's a bit better, but not much. I'm going to show you what happens when I put 4 lots of engines on, but because I've got no connection ports, I'm going to have to change the layout of the habitations at the bottom. Click one of the connection ports on the lower level, press G, go to Habs, and these are the habitats at this port. Equipment changes depending on the one you go to. We've only got space for a 2 slot, but that'll be enough. Now you notice all the dashed lines underneath the name of the habs. Those are the different habitat types you can choose, and the inside of your ship will change depending on which one you pick. Click the arrow keys left and right to choose the habitat you want. I'm going to go with living quarters downstairs, give everyone a place to live. I've moved stuff around and found a way to put those extra 2 engines on the sides. My mobility is now 100 and the top speed is still 150, but with a larger hab and the 2 extra engines, the mass has gone up to 663. So I'll do a test and show you how it's affected the speed. You'll notice in the bottom left that the engine systems still have 4 blocks of energy in them. But now we've added extra engines, we have grey blocks above it that we have to fill up with energy to get to the same speed as we did with just 2 engines. So we've doubled the amount of engines, so it needs double the amount of power. And because the engines aren't getting it, they're only running at half power, hence such a low top speed. As I want this ship to be fast, and the new front engines are more powerful than the old back ones, I'm going to get rid of the old engines. I'm going to move the landing gear forward, put the grav drive underneath, as that's got connection points at the side, which lets me connect the bigger engines, but still keep them underneath the docking collar. The cargo bays haven't got anything to connect to now because there's landing gear there, so bring those forward. And there we go, the final design of the ship. The mobility has gone down to 57, but the mass has also gone down to 487. The last thing you need to do is name your ship. Go down to the flight check at the bottom or press C, then press rename ship or the G key. Let's call this baby Nublets 1. I'll give you one last look at it. It looks beautiful, and it's much better than the upgraded Frontier. so try and steal yourself a good ship. And I've done a video on how to do that, but I'll link at the end. We go up the ramp, into the living quarters, containers around, tables, got a ladder. You can change the ramp around if you don't like it. Control stations. And a nice big cockpit. Let's take off and test it out. It may have started as somebody else's ship, but I've made it completely my own. Let's test its top speed. 99, which is fine. It's better than 59 with 4 engines. And its boost is just under 400. And it can achieve that because most of its engine system power is full. Let me show you what this baby can do against 2 large B-class ships. Right, let's see what this one is. That looks like the bigger one, so I'll save that till last. Here's a bounty hunting ship. Cut down his shields. Destroyed his hull. He's out of there. Get quite okay XP. Right, this is a ship I want to capture. You need to level up your piloting skills to capture bigger ships. I explain how to do it in the video at the end. Take down its shields. Remember it's slow motion in targeting systems. They're gone. And its engines are gone. Now if you'd got your piloting skills up, you could have jumped to a bigger B-class ship straight away, and it would save you tens of thousands of credits. When I first played, I made a mistake of building up my frontier ship more and more over time to suit my needs. But it becomes slower and less powerful, and you can waste tens of thousands of credits on it, when it's better in every way of just capturing a new ship. Only later on in game when you're really rich, might you want to build a ship from scratch. But by then you'll be an expert at the game, and you wouldn't need a tutorial guide on how to build. But with this one, I've given you the best advice of what to do, how to save money, time, and get an incredibly strong ship early on. If this video was helpful, please like. It'd be nice if you subscribe if you haven't already, and click the bell notifications and all to get notified when I upload next. It would help a lot if you shared the link for this video. I stream at a weekend, so it'd be nice if you come and watched. And don't forget to check out the other videos at the end. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye, and I hope you have a good day.